Okay, so today I want to speak about, Megillat Eicha, and about the whole concept of understanding what exactly are we mourning for. If you ask the average person, oh, what are we mourning for? What would they say? Oh, the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. So, okay, so the building got destroyed. So are we crying over, the sticks and stones? What exactly? Oh no, it's the relationship. It's the distance. But I want to explain and go and look deep to see how Chazal explained to us, what exactly is the loss that we have experienced, and to look at it specifically inside the words. I think there's something very, very fascinating that could be learnt out from understanding the words in which that describe the mourning that we are experiencing. If you were to choose one word that describes the churban, the sorrow, the mourning that we are experiencing, what would that one word be? What would that word be? You could write it on the chat if you want to tell me what you think the word would be. Right? One word that describes the depth of the churban, of the destruction, of the loss that we are experiencing. There's one word that the Torah uses over and over again, that the Nevi'im use over and over again. Mrs. Herman is saying bocha, which is crying, which is a great word. There's a lot of words that we could, abandonment, which is like, azav, aziva is like leaving. Thank you so much. We have different richuk, right? A distance that we feel. But if you look at at Chazal, and the first word appears actually in this week's parsha, in Parshas Dvarim, and it appears in the Navi, in Parshas Chazon, Avda. Shirley March is saying Avda, Avda Aretz. Ms. Herman is saying Eicha. And that's really the word I want to focus on, is the word that appears in this week's parsha. It appears by the Haftorah of this week's parsha, Shabbos Chazon, by Yeshayahu. It appears by Yirmiyahu Hanavi in Megillas Eicha. And that is actually the word Eicha. I'm actually going to share my screen just so that I could show you the Mar Mekomos inside. If you look at it inside, sometimes it's the ability to see it. So if you look over here, in this week's parsha, we have it over here. In fact, we lane this in shul with the niggin of Megillat Eicha. In the middle of Kriyat Torah, the Baal Koreh suddenly goes, Eicha esa levadi. It already brings us into the avira, into the mood. And then in the Haftorah, we're going to say, Heicha ita lezona kirya ne'emana. How did Yerushalayim become like a harlot, that anyone could just come here and do whatever they want? How did it happen? And then we have it in Megillat Eicha. Eicha yashva badad, ha'ir rabat yam hayta ke'almana. How is it that our city is sitting in solitude, sitting all by itself? And the question is, what does the word Eicha mean? What does it encapsulate in it? What is the tragedy that we see from the word Eicha? So Eicha literally means, how did this happen? How Moshe Rabbeinu was turning to Hashem, how could I carry the burden of Am Yisrael? Yeshayahu is saying, how could it be that the city happened like this? Or how is it that the city is sitting in solitude? But where is the first time that the word Eicha appears in the Torah? The Gaon tells us, whenever you want to understand something, you have to go all the way back to the first time that it appears. So where's the first time that this word appears? So I want to take you to Bereshis. Very good. You see that in the comments as well. I want to take you to Bereshis, which is the first time that the word Eicha appears is right over here. Vayikra Hashem Elokim el Adam, vayomer lo Ayeka. This is after Adam and Chava eat from the Eitz Hadas, and they're embarrassed. They suddenly realize that they're naked. And then Adam Arishon goes and he hides from Hashem because he's embarrassed that he doesn't have. And then Hashem wants to get into conversation with him. So he goes into the garden and he says, Adam, Chava, Ayeka, where are you? Now, if you look, and I'm going to go back to so you could see the words inside, the word is Ayeka is spelled just like Eicha, but it's not just that it's spelled the same way. I want to take your attention to the Zohar. What does the Zohar say over here? Vayikra Hashem Elokim el Adam, vayomer lo ayeka. Hacha ramiz lei de'atid lecharba bei mikdasha ve'lemivka eicha. Says the Zohar that when Hashem turns to Adam Arishon and says ayeka, he's actually telling him a remez that you're going to cry one day and you're going to say eicha. How did it happen? So you see that the Zohar connects the words ayeka to the words eicha, but it doesn't end there because the Zohar continues and says hadau dichtiv eicha yashva badad eiko. This is what the pasuk means. Eicha yashva badad. How did it sit in solitude? Eiko. Where is the ko? What does that mean? Where is the ko? The word a always means where. We find this in hevel achicha, right? When Hashem turns to Cain after he kills Hevel, so Hashem turns to Cain, he gets into conversation with him, and he says, hevel achicha. The word means where. Where is Hevel, your brother? So in a sense, the word eicha means a ko. Where is the ko? Now, what does ko mean? What does the word ko mean? Ko is a very fascinating word that encapsulates in it so much that describes our relationship with Hashem and the place that symbolizes that relationship with Hashem. If you look, how are all the Nevi'im misnabe? When a prophet says a nevuah in the Torah, what does he actually say? Right? How are they misnabe? So if you look throughout all of Nach, it's always Ko Amar Hashem. This is what Hashem said. The word Ko Amar Hashem, right? We hear Ko Amar Hashem. The word Ko Amar Hashem is always the word that describes the Navi. You see this, that Rashi in Bamidbar brings this down. Zeh Adavar, says Rashi, by Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe nitnaba beko Amar Hashem b'chatzot halayla, ve'aneviim nitnabu beko Amar Hashem musaf alei Moshe shenitnaba belashon zeh adavar. Moshe Rabbeinu had a special nevuah that he could say Zeh Hadavar, but all of the rest of Nevi'im, if we wanted to have a clear relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so then we would say Ko Amar Hashem. The word Ko means the Olama Dimyon, the understanding. When you see a vision that is something spiritual, you're able to connect it to the physical world. It's something that is very fascinating, connecting the spiritual to the physical. Ko Amar Hashem. But it doesn't apply just to the spirituality. It applies also to the place. What's the name of Har HaMoriah? What is the name of the special mountain? Do you know where is the first time that Har HaMoriah appears in the Torah? Where's the first time that we see the place of the Beis HaMikdash appear in the Torah? And what's it called when we describe the place that has the Beis HaMikdash in it? So if you look at the Psukim, it's amazing. When I saw this, I was like, wow, unbelievable, right? And I want to show you the Psukim inside. Bayom HaShlishi, Avraham Avinu goes to Akedat Yitzchak. It's the first time, and Hashem tells him, go. Vayisav Avraham et einav vayar et hamakom merachok. Avraham Avinu sees the place from far away. Vayomer Avraham el ne'arav, shvu lachem po im hachamor. And Avraham Avinu tells the boys, Eliezer and Ishmael, he says, you sit over here with the donkey. Ve'ani ve'anav nilcha ad ko ve'nishtachave ve'nashuv alechem. And I and the boy will go to a place that's called Ko. Ko Amar Hashem. I'm going to go to that place, which is called Ko. Unbelievable. The first time that we have Har HaMoriah in the Torah, it's described as Vani Vanar Nilchat Ko. We find later on, Yaakov Avinu has a vision. And when he's sleeping in that same mountain, in that same place, and he's Vayikatz, he has a dream of the ladder going up and down. He gets up and he gets scared. Why is he scared? Because he says, Ein zeh ki im bet Elokim v'zeh shar hashamayim. And Rashi over there says that you have Yerushalayim shel Mala is parallel to Yerushalayim shel Mata. They're connected. The Yerushalayim of up and the Yerushalayim of down are connected. Yerushalayim represents, this was the place where we understood when there was clear, crystal clear clarity what we want out of our lives. right? We've mentioned this in the past. How many times do we feel, if only I had a little bit more clarity with what I want out of my life? If only I understood what my mission is. If only I understood what I should be doing. Should I move to Israel? Should I not move? Should I send my kids to this school? Should I not send my kids to this school? What advice should I give my grandparents? What should I be doing? Should I be traveling to America or should I be not be traveling? Should I leave or should I not leave? Should we open the shul or should we not open the shul? There's so many questions. If only I had a little bit more clarity, I would understand what I'm supposed to be doing and what's the right thing to do. When we had the Beis Hamikdash, we had that crystal clear clarity that answered those questions, also our internal questions between body and soul. I want this, but I also want that. I want to enjoy this, but I also want to have meaning and purpose in my life, right? My body generally wants to receive. I want kavod. I want pleasure. I want respect. And my neshama wants to give, wants to love, and wants meaning and purpose. There's always that juggle between those things. When I had the Beis Hamikdash, I knew the exact harmonious shalom, right? It's the house of shalom, of shlemos, of understanding what I'm supposed to do in my life. But that got destroyed. That place is called Ko, because Ko represents the connection between this world and that world. And that's why, who are the people that service the Beis Hamikdash? Who are the people that are actually do an avoda in the Beis Hamikdash? What are they called? They're called Kohen. How do you spell Kohen? Chaf Hey Nun, right? And what does it say about the Kohen? Ko tevarchu et bnei Yisrael lemor lahem. It should be Ko. You should give the bracha of Ko, of clarity between the spiritual and the physical. That is the bracha that they give us. V'yasem lecha shalom. You should have shalom in your life. You should have shleimus. You should have harmony in your life between the physical and the spiritual world. Ko tevarchun et bnei Yisrael. Give the bnei Yisrael the bracha of Ko. And that's why they're called Kohen. Rabbeinu Bechai says something fascinating. Ko, Chaf Hey, is Gematria 25. And the nun sophist of the word Kohen is Gematria 50, which means it's 25 plus 25. It's the Kohen of Mata. When he does the avoda down here, there is a Malach, which is the Kohen of Yerushalayim Shel Malach. There's always two Kohanim that are working together. 25 and 25 is 50. That's the nun sophist of the Kohen. Ko tevachun et bnei Yisrael. The word Ko always represents the parallel between the physical and the spiritual. That's why it makes sense that in the time of the second Beis Hamikdash, when we lost our clarity and the Hellenists were taking over and the Greeks were taking over, and finally a family of Maccabees, of the Hashmonaim, they get up and they fight to give back that clarity to the Jewish people. What day did they rest on? What do we call that holiday where the Hashmonaim overcame the Yevanim? We call it Chanukah. They rested on Ko. They rested on Chaf Hey, Ko tevarchun as bnei Yisrael. They gave us the ability to connect again the physical and the spiritual worlds together. That's what the word Ko means. That's why we find this by Avraham Avinu, where the bracha is Ko yeh zarecha. Your children should be Ko, should be like this. This is exactly, we even find this by Moshe Rabbeinu. The Mefarshim explain when he hit the Mitzri, right? He sees a Mitzri, he's hitting a Jew. So it says, Vayifen ko vako, vayal kien ish. He looked here and he looked there. What does that mean, he looked here and he looked there? Rashi says that he looked and he saw that this guy is coming from nowhere and no one is going to come out of him. Meaning he's not connected to any spiritual realm. Vayifen ko vako. He looked up and down. He looked left and right. And he said, there's nothing here. I could kill him with the Shema Mefurish. And if there's no ko, he gives him a makkah. He gives him a makkah. Vayachet ha-mitzri, vayitmaneu b'chol. He gives him a makkah, and it's finished. That was also with the makkos of Mitzrayim. Because Paro says that I didn't know if there's Hashem. And he says, bezos teida, v'nei lo shamata ad ko amar Hashem. And therefore he ends up giving him the makkah. That's the revelation. And in a certain way, that's what we're mourning for. When we say eicha, we're saying eiko. Where is it? Where is the ko amar Hashem? Where is that clarity? Where is that crystal clear? Where is that harmony in our life? Whenever we feel that stress in our life between our body and our soul, between what we want and we're desiring, and we're so busy in our business, but really I want to stop and be with my kids, and I want to make money, but I want to also enjoy why I made the money. I want to listen to shiurim of Torah, but I'm wasting time on the internet. Whatever it might be, I always have this juggle between different desires of what I want to do and what I am and who I am. It's because I'm missing the code. Where's the code? Where's the crystal clear clarity of living a spiritual life, of understanding that I'm a Jew, which means I have a mission. My mission is to show the world that we are a soul, to create a society that is built out of holiness, kedusha, that we are able to create a physical life and a physical society in this world that is led by God-given values. We have a mission to do that, and therefore we have a mission to enlist other Jews to join that mission, that they should understand that. But we're lacking that. We're lacking it. We're saying, Eiko, where's the ko? And you know what? Hashem turns to us and he says, Ayeka, where are you? Where are you guys? I need you. You're my partner. I can't do this alone. Ayeka. I created you, man, in this world to glorify my name in this world. And it's not being glorified. In fact, it's a chilul Hashem. And that's what we're mourning. That's what we've lost. If we could imagine, if you could take for a moment to imagine a perfect society that is governed by these values that are given by Hashem, God-given values. You can imagine that perfect society. Just imagine how we would overcome COVID-19, this whole coronavirus. Imagine that people didn't waste their money on extra things, and there was enough money to carry us through this difficult time. And the people who have extra money are actually building different programs and operations to help the people who are having a hard time with money. And the musicians who made a great year this past year, hundreds of thousands of dollars per concert, are now giving free live programs to pick up the morale of the people. And the government is actually looking out for everyone. And it's not about people's kavod and their gaiva, but rather it's about what are the processes that we could do to help us get through the, and everyone will have respect for one another. And it's not just about, being, right? We have 5 different companies across the world that are one step away from making the perfect remedy. Now, none of them are working together. Why are they not working together? Because it's not about the value of providing the medicine. It's the race to be the first one to come up with the medicine so that I could be rich. So what's driving us is being rich and the money, and not about actually putting the best minds together to come up with the solution quicker. So there's something that is missing here. But if you can imagine that we created a society that is run by these values, wow, the hashpah will be unbelievable. And that's maybe what part of Shabbat Chazon is all about. Chazon is the vision of Yeshayahu. I think part of Chazon is our Chazon. What's our vision? Could we envision a perfect society? And if we could envision it, we can now sit and mourn and understand that we're lacking it. Eiko, Eicha, where is it? And Hashem says, where are you? Ayeka. And that's what we're mourning over. That's what we're sad over. And the people who are able to mourn over the fact that it's not complete yet are the people that are willing to constantly make themselves better, make their surrounding area better, strengthen their community, work together with one another. We've been saying this a lot of the shiurim. They're going to people who are going to work on themselves and call a friend that they haven't called in a long time, and somebody that they fought with and they're having a difficult time in their relationship. They're going to call him up. They're going to work on themselves. It's the 9 days. They're going to try to have more ava, more love, and more achdus. Because if we're willing to mourn over the fact that it's not perfect yet, that means that we're willing to internalize that, first of all, one day it will be. We haven't given up hope. One day it will be better. And when that day comes, we're going to celebrate. That's what it says. If you mourn over Yerushalayim, you are seeing its nechama, you're seeing its comfort, because the fact that there's still a nation that mourns over this loss, that itself shows us that it's not dead yet, that it's going to come back, that the concept of it is still alive. We're just waiting for it. But not just that we're waiting for it to happen, we're willing to take a step to make it happen. We're willing to take that first step to make ourselves better, to try to make our immediate surrounding better. And eventually, that will have a lot of trickle effect. Advot. Advot is like the waves in the water. A drop falls in, a rock falls into the water. It makes a ring and another ring and another ring. If we do enough rings, it keeps on spreading. And then we could actually be able to celebrate that from the fact that we were able to mourn the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, we'll be able to celebrate the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash, which is not just a rebuilding of a physical structure. When we're davening for Meheira Tatzmiach, Es Semach David Avdecha Meheira Tatzmiach, when we're praying for V'Yerushalayim Ircha Berachamim Tashuv, we're not just praying for a nicer city, for a city that is more built, for a city that has Jews living also in East Jerusalem, right? That's not what's missing. We also want the city to be fully built and fully complete, but it means that the society in which we live in is on a much higher level. It's on a much higher level of values, of meaning, of purpose, the way people interact with one another, the way that the values that are given to us by this infinite wisdom of the Torah that's given to us by Hashem, that's what drives our society forward. That's what we're praying for when we say V'Yerushalayim Yircha Barachamim Tashuv. May we be zoche to see it soon in our time.